So welcome for coming at Skyscanner, and so this talk is about something I like to think of the Agile paradox. And what we're going to cover today as well is some tools that you're going to be able to use, and you're going to be able to, for any of those projects that you might have, in a way that it's going to help you to go more agile. So I'm Daniel, and I'm a senior design manager at the Skyscanner. And this is Anna. She's one of our product designers. We both work at the Skyscanner, but also prior to Skyscanner, we've got an extensive experience working in different companies and in different types of projects. So I'm from Barcelona originally, but I had the opportunity to actually work at the Empire States in New York. I've also had the opportunity to work on great projects, like one that won the best UX strategy and the best innovation awards for the drum and the UX awards, and then also and I mentor people, including kids.
And hi, I'm Anna. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Hi, I'm Anna. I'm originally from Poland, but I've been working in London for 7 years across different agencies, startups, and now working at the mature product company that is Skyscanner. And fun fact, keeping it on theme with Dan and working with children, I actually started my career as an industrial designer, designing homes for kids. So yeah, that's a bit about us.
So a quick question to start is, when you hear Agile, what words come to mind?
Speed, iterations, fast delivery.
Jira. Any other one? Mindset. Okay.
Very philosophical.
That's an interesting one. Usually people think words like iteration, fast delivery, sprints, things that really represent going fast. But is it a speed to everything? So really not, because speed without direction actually doesn't get you to the outcomes that you might want most of the times, and it might waste kind of time and effort as well. And here's the thing, without direction, it just it can create a lot of inefficiencies, really. And what's more important than speed is making sure that you're going really to that direction and you get to the outcomes that you are needing. And that's what I call slow down to speed up, which is great design isn't about the speed, but it's about solving the right problems in really the right way for customers and for actually a business being able to get the value that they need. So rushing, as I've mentioned, can lead to rework, wasting time, money, resources, and actually slowing down at the beginning. It really helps you kind of to be a little bit more confident about what you are designing and on the decisions with the full team, not just yourself. So this is the development flow that we've got at the Skyscanner, created by some of senior leadership. We've got Charles there, we've got Bruno. There's really nothing particularly new here. There's kind of double, triple, quadruple diamond. But what's important, and that's the thing that we're going to talk about today, it's about the principles that actually are behind this in terms of how us as designers actually use this. So first we start with aligning with the stakeholders. We research on the problem. And the third one that we're going to cover is co-create and test the concepts in a way that actually you can do it in a very speedy and fast way and gain quite a lot of confidence. So the first principle, align with stakeholders. So the beginning of the project is really the most important, and that's the one that you should concentrate. Because there's nothing about not being aligned at the beginning and suddenly halfway of the project is you discover that actually that's not the goal that you wanted to achieve. Or at least some people in the team thought it was something else. So this might be familiar to you. In this case, I've asked about, I think the roadmap moving forward is this. Is everyone aligned? Product manager? Not really, I think it should be that. And a few people, and it becomes quite a mess. So that's why it's really important to align at the beginning. And that's why, for us, we run a kickoff in order to teach differences between the different disciplines. And that's what we're going to teach you on the first tools. So we start together, and that includes everyone with the team. It doesn't really mean absolutely everyone, every single engineer. That may be too much depending on the project. But at least a key representative of each one of the disciplines, because they can pinpoint who is the most important to speak to whilst you are along the journey of creating one of those projects. And we align on key decisions, and we're going to look at what key decisions are those. It's important because it helps you solve the right problem. So actually halfway someone else comes with a random idea that actually is not related to the problem that you were trying to solve. So this way you can always anchor and say, we already decided this. It avoids misdirection early, part of what I was just talking about. And also it focuses on maximum impact. If you decide what you want to achieve as a business early on, it doesn't come up as a surprise later on. And you can always kind of see if you're achieving what you've decided to achieve.
So in terms of the I want to talk about, it's really the importance of discovering that shared mission in an interactive kickoff workshop and really finding that 1 hour in the beginning of the project where all the stakeholders can come to the meeting and not just sit through a playback presentation, but actively participate in some interactive actions. Slide. And what we always try to achieve within that 1 hour kickoff workshop is frame the problem, invite everyone to contribute to and align on the stakeholder map, also ask some questions about the design outcomes of the project, and kind of as a nice to have, discuss draft timelines and ways of working. But to be honest, this can always be refined in later meetings. I think it's most important to focus on the first 3 in that interactive kickoff workshop. So here's a video of how we set up that interactive session in Miro. We can see that it is very structured and different exercises have their own section in Miro. And that really helps us time box time for each interactive activity and just really make sure that everyone's got the space to express themselves and pinpoint the most important things to them. And within, you could see that there were a few sections, but the 2 most important ones that I think you absolutely cannot miss is the first one, stakeholder mapping. And I know that within design thinking world, it's a fairly obvious thing to do, right? In design thinking process, we always talk about stakeholder mapping. But in some of the past projects that I have worked on, stakeholder mapping was a thing that I would do in silo with product manager. So one thing that I learned from working at Skyscanner is that there is a huge benefit to introduce different stakeholders to that participative creation of stakeholder map. And the second most important bit is ensure that you get the opportunity to refine a definition of success. And we do that again by an interactive exercise in Miro, asking some controversial questions like, what do you think is the value of the process? And even more controversial, what do you want to take out of this project individually? And that really helps us discover any potential blind spots of some conflicting interests and share it in a very kind of open and helpful way.
So involving the stakeholders early creates an ownership, and much like the key effect, I don't know if you've heard about it, but when people really build something is when they feel part of it and they really value it. And therefore kicking off a project together kind of gain a little bit more commitment that otherwise you might not have it. And also it gets a little bit more confidence about the ultimate outcome. So the second principle is, as I've mentioned, researching the problem.
Now, it's quite a fun comparison that we came up with. Building a successful product is kind of like building an acrobatic trick. It's extremely impressive on the outside, but most important is to have a strong foundation when it starts. And for any product, that foundation is ultimately user research. And now within a product lifecycle, as you may know, different types of research are applicable at different times, starting from very big picture strategic discovery research, the interviews, the kind of surface level testing usability of various features. So what I had seen in a lot of projects in the past is that there is a designated reserve time for user research, but sometimes product managers and stakeholders mean by that, oh, let's just run some usability testing at the very, very end. So in Agile product development, we have to remember to bring in that strategic research in one way and another. And sometimes it doesn't mean doing that discovery from scratch, but rather we're using some already existing insights in the context of the project that we're working on. And this is the second tool that I wanted to talk about. Tool or approach, we read, we think, and we work insights from past user research to gain speed. And the three elements of that include, well, reviewing any past qualitative research and reports, but not just reading them in a structured way, making sure you take strategic notes. Whenever possible, jobs to be done framework, but most importantly, whatever you do, don't just keep those insights to yourself and to your own design process. Make sure that you've got some playback sessions and share them back with the team. So the first part, review post-qualitative research. Again, a fairly obvious thing, take a research report, read it, get some insights from it. In the past, I made the mistake of just reading through things and not really taking very specific insights from them. So now I always make sure to note down pain points and unmet user needs that are related to the product area that I'm working on. And the second very important tool is quantifying those insights with jobs to be done framework, and that's going to tell a bit more about the process of that.
So using jobs to be done really helps prioritize. I don't know if you're familiar with it. We're not going to explain in depth jobs to be done here, but the important is to be able kind of to understand how important and satisfied people with that job, the problem that you want to try to solve, and that helps really prioritize. And what's important also is that ensures that you focus on really what brings the most value for the user and also for the business. And at Skyscanner we have a repository, a place where we get every single team that has done jobs to be done, so everything is collated on the same place. And that kind of really helps kind of to speed up any process moving forward. So if you are creating a new project, a new anything new that you might be creating, you can always go back to this repository and see if you've got some insights about the problem, and that kind of helps kind of prioritize whether that problem that you were trying to solve is a good one. And yeah, basically it reduces also discovery time, just because you've got a place to go, you don't need to start from scratch. We sometimes do. I've done it here in the past for a few projects, but it's not always necessary since we know the full spectrum of the job at the Skyscanner. So basically, to understanding the problem, what we are trying to say is that can prevent maybe 2 weeks, or even 3, or even months of missteps.
One principle that I want to advocate for is always make sure that you co-create with others, and then afterwards that you test the concepts that you come up with. And in the context of that principle, there was a really good quote that I found when I was preparing for this presentation, a quote by Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google. When we bring together diverse perspectives, we unlock solutions that truly make a difference for our users and our business. And from my experience, the phrase that really stands out in that is that phrase, diverse perspectives. And that's because product design is a team sport. Each of us is very valuable when you try to create ideas of value. And bringing diverse subject matter experts really helps explore a wider range of ideas. And in that spirit, co-creation workshop is one of the most valuable tools that you can get to optimize products for further iteration in a creative way. And from my experience, it's always great to, when we think of diverse stakeholders, we think of product managers, front-end engineers, back-end engineers, but it's always great to bring in customer relationship managers, or maybe people from marketing who do their own research on customer needs, really trying to spread out that view of stakeholders that you want to involve in, depending on what area of the product you're working in. And that's because you don't need to be a designer to be a creator. Encourage everyone to share as many ideas as possible. In a classic design sprint, you might know all the visuals of people sketching rapidly, or maybe drafting some wireframes really quickly to express an idea. But in our experience, encouraging people to put down their thoughts in post-it notes is better than them not contributing at all. So just take these post-it notes and refine them for some very lo-fi draft concepts later when you want to test them with the users.
And that goes to the fourth and final tool, which is identify impact ideas early with the stability testing. So being able kind of to, from the co-creation workshop, even if you don't have those mock-ups, is about kind of summarizing what's the main idea, and by having the main idea, you can actually test it. You can test with a description, explaining what is this about, what is this, understand and compare the different ideas, and being able to say, actually, that's the one at the star concept is the one that we are going to build. And that helps because till this point, you might not have actually created any mockup. So really design work, it just starts now. And I guess from our experience, is kind of refine and define only concepts that are highly desirable, really. Don't spend time doing those mockups that maybe the user doesn't want them. Only after. That's what we do most of the time. And then after that, you can do feasibility and viability to really understand that you start, as you see, you start from the customer, you start whether that's desirable or not.
So yeah, at the end, we just want to share with you some key takeaways. And again, thank you so much for coming to this UX Crunch event and visiting our office. Again, the key takeaways, these three principles from alignment with stakeholder to co-creation really help guide building user-centric products. And you've got a list of the tools that we associate with each of these parts of product development flow. And if you can embed into your process at least 2 of them, that's already a great first step to create more user-centric products in an agile way. And I hope that some of the tips and tricks that we shared today, like reusing past user research or testing concepts just with description, help you optimize your products at speed.
So at the Skyscanner, we really invest starting at the beginning strong, and start in a very confident way about kind of validating and from creating those kind of insights, go through the problem as much as possible, and don't do mock-ups till actually you've got confident that that's the thing that you need to do. Because actually moving pixels around, it's very easy. But then once you've got something on the code, it's very complex. Thank you very much. Follow us and review.